want you to do the voice.
All right, call the meeting to order at
6:06.
6:06. Please stand for a moment of silence, please, in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, well, can you do roll call, please?
President Barbie Trent,
Present.
Vice President Joe Adam, Vinglas,
Here.
Jack Root, Reverend Gerald Spade,
Here.
Kevin Swager,
Here.
Paul Zupich,
Sure.
Mayor Margaret Madalena.
No.
No. you can't. Due to the, order of the meeting, we need to have check signing privileges done immediately. So what we need to do is, we need to have the minutes from the regular meeting approved so that this can be taken to the bank and the check signing privileges can be taken care of, because we have bills that must be paid yesterday. And so I'm going to have Noel read the minutes. I'm sorry I do not have a copy for each of you to follow along, so please pay attention. Take notes if you have to, if you have any problems with what's in there, so we can make corrections and get this taken care of immediately. Noel, please go ahead.
Madam President, why don't we just do a resolution? It works better, but they really like those better, and we could do that real quick.
I just ran into that with the fire company, okay? If you wanna do a resolution, there's not overkill here. We can do both, okay?
Okay.
Because when we went down to the bank I was just newly elected on the fire company board, we had to have the minutes there. And so.
It's just showing a vote, but a resolution does the same thing. That it's,
Okay.
They asked for minutes when we did it before.
Yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
bank asked for minutes.
We
Yeah,
don't
let's
have
do it.
one piped up now anyway.
No, so let's
just
go.
approve these minutes, we
Yeah.
have that, that's all right.
All right, Noel, go ahead.
March 4th, 2019. Meeting started at 7:01 p.m. in the Coalport Borough Council room. Moment of silence. Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call attendance. President Barbie Trent, Vice President Joe Adam, Calvin Glass, Reverend Gerald Spade, Kevin Swager, Paul Zupich, Mayor Margaret Madalena. Absent council member was Jack Root. Guests were Walter Huey, Sean Yeckley, Ian Gabrielson, Judy Askey, James McNulty, Patricia McNulty, Jackie Neveling, Joseph Neveling, Diane Byers of the Progress, Dave Glass running for County Commissioner, Mike Delafosse, Ed Fosnot, DCED, and Hugh Yeckley. Reading of minutes for regularly scheduled meeting for February 4th, 2019. Reverend Spade made a motion to correct minutes and add the corrections that he had made. Due to there being no second to the motion died. Calvin Glass made a motion to approve the minutes as they were. Paul Zupich second. All ayes except for Reverend Spade, who said nay. Majority vote, motion carried. Reading of minutes for special meeting for February 26, 2019. Calvin Glass motion to accept the minutes. Paul Zupich second. All ayes, motion carried. Yes. Joe Neveling stated his concern about the lights being removed throughout the borough. Residents that came to the meeting claimed that they were never asked if it were okay to remove these lights. President Barbie Trent explained that the removal of the streetlights had been based on the proximity of how far the lights were apart. President Trent requested a break at 7:40 p.m. The meeting resumed at 7:44 p.m. Calvin Glass had made it clear that there was some miscommunication with Penelec about what lights were scheduled for removal. Residents would like the light back on Turtle Alley within 15 days. Ian Gabrielson, Sean Yeckley, and Hugh Yeckley came on behalf of the Glendale Fire Company. The fire company reserved Beechwood Park on June 9th, 2019 for the poker float. Ian Gabrielson read off the number of calls year to date and the number of calls from February 4th, 2019 to March 4th, 2019. Ed Fosnot from DCED was present to answer questions about the IEP project and stated we would qualify for the 10% match. President Trent asked if there was a list to determine what the borough could actually get a grant for. President Trent wishes to table the idea to interview for grants from this program until council is sure that they want the interview. Dave Glass is running for county commissioner. Dave Glass came to meet the council and offered assistance to whatever the borough may need. Correspondence. Lisa from the county's assistance office would like building permits on the 10th of each month. Due to 3 marks on taxes, there is no funding for liquid fuels. Catherine McCusker sent in a letter to the borough stating she could no longer help, and she will be returning all payroll information. Joe Adam will no longer be working for the borough, but will remain on council. Therefore, he will continue on with his signature responsibilities. Kevin Swager made a motion to accept Joe Adams' resignation. Paul Zupich second. All ayes, motion carried. Unfinished business. No one has applied for the secretary position yet. Paul Zupich, Kevin Swager, and President Trent will conduct the employee evaluations. President Trent, Kevin Swager, and Calvin Glass will form a committee to meet with the Glendale Fire Company for negotiations. Reverend Spade made a motion to accept President Trent, Kevin Swager, and Calvin Glass as the new committee to speak to the fire company. Calvin Glass seconded this motion. All ayes, motion carried. New business. Timestamps were requested for video recordings. Cameras are only to be used for meetings and workshops. The camera should only be on for the duration of the meeting and the workshops. Reverend Spade agreed to this condition. Emails were originally used to send agendas to fellow council members. The members of council stated that they were not okay with people that were sent group emails to know their personal email address. It was agreed to no longer send group emails due to the sake of privacy. Due to the lack of administrative staff, Reverend Spade's right-to-know officer could not be honored. President Trent would like to make secretary and right-to-know officer to be 2 different people. The right-to-know officer would need all documentation. President Trent tabled the discussion of the right-to-know officer until the next meeting. A member of Coalport Borough has a race car but has no garage on the property to store such vehicle. This topic will be tabled until the next meeting. Due to Joe Adams' resignation, there was no need to appoint a new director to oversee the work of the borough. Paul Zupich made a motion to nominate Calvin Glass as the new director with check signing privileges. Joe Adams seconded this motion. Roll call vote was taken. President Barbie Trent, yes. Vice President Joe Adams, yes. Reverend Gerald Spade, yes. Kevin Swager, yes. Paul Zupich, yes. Calvin Glass was abstained due to conflict of interest. All ayes, motion carried. Paul Zupich made a motion to pay $75 for Calvin Glass to go to the municipal secretary training. Kevin Swager seconded this motion. All ayes, except for Reverend Spade. Majority vote, motion carried. Kevin Swager made a motion for the temporary secretary, Noel Trent, to also go to the municipal secretary training. Paul Zupich seconded his motion. All ayes, motion carried. Mayor report. Nothing to report at this time. Finance and treasurer report. Bungo tires, $200. MVC dues tabled until next meeting. Nittany Oil, $347.50. Lucas's Plumbing and Heating, $30.65. Total of $578.15. Calvin Glass stated that there was a credit account at Napa. They will not return the money but will convert it into store credit. Reverend Spade made a motion to pay the bills that the borough has received so far. Calvin Glass seconded this motion. All ayes, motion carried. Old business. Little League stated that they would try to get the power by themselves. Advertisement for a new secretary was made. The discussion on the bleachers down at the baseball field was tabled until the next meeting. A special meeting will be arranged to talk about the resolution of the streetlight issue. Good of the borough. President Trent brought up about how someone went into her office and they took papers that she later had needed and were not able to find them at that time. Council members should not be bombarded or should not bombard people when they are busy. They should be cognitive of people's time. There was an executive session. Kevin Swager made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Paul Zupich seconded this motion. All ayes, motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 10:30 p.m. in the Coalport Borough Council room. Next council meeting will take place April 1st, 2019 at 7 p.m. in the Coalport Borough Council room or by call of the chair.
You heard the reading of the minutes. Any corrections? You guys okay with the reading of the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve them? Wait a minute. There was something that I wanted to, when you're taking a roll call vote and you have that all ayes, put a number in there, like for instance, for tonight, let's say Calvin doesn't agree, you would have 3 ayes and 1 nay, and then put that it was Calvin Glass. You know, like you did the one with Reverend Spade. You just wrote, except Reverend Spade. Well, we need to know that Reverend Spade either abstained or he said a nay. And in that point, he said a nay. So you have to make that specified in the minutes, okay? So, do I have a motion to pass the minutes with that correction?
I'll say.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have, I got in contact with the, person, that Kevin had given me the name for, and actually it was the same person that I already had the name for, and she is part of a program called Peer to Peer. And what she does is, she goes into municipalities such as ours who secretary quit, whatever. I thought we were the one and only, but apparently we are not. This happens a lot, and, what she does is, we have to have a letter of intent, and it has to be sent to Ed Fosnot, and, they make a decision, him and a governing board make a decision whether we're actually needy enough for this kind of program, and then they get this woman, she comes in, she helps straighten out the mess that we're in, she trains whoever we hire, and she does not leave her until she is confident that that person can do the job, and this is paid for by DCED, okay? So, I need, that you run down to the peer-to-peer program. This is the letter of intent, and all it does is it states where our problems are. It's a very small form, and yes, Mr. Spade, you may see it.
Oh,
Who's that?
I
people
didn't-
by DCED?
I didn't vote, so I'd like to put it, I wanted to think about it, I wanna put a no on the minutes.
I-
Okay.
Yeah, do that. Okay.
So what do you need, Barbie, a motion to,
Well, I'll make a motion, if it's not gonna cost us nothing that's approved, then I make a motion, we do it,
there's nothing to lose.
No, it's all
Right,
benefit by
right.
program.
Second,
Is this program like something like the COPS program where they are gonna help us and then it diminishes through the years? It's a
No,
one-time
this is a
help?
one-time deal
Okay,
where they come in for however long it takes, train our secretary that we hire, and ensure that she is confident enough to do the job, and then they walk away and the funding stops right then and there. They don't pay for our secretary we hire, we pay for the secretary we hire. They only pay for the help,
free education,
the help.
sounds good.
Yeah, this woman will come in, she will help straighten out the office, help get things reorganized, and assist the new secretary in taking over, and then she walks away, and that's the end.
Did we vote?
we voted, did we just?
Calvin
vote?
made a motion
I second.
for the letter, Paul seconded it. Now, I am with the understanding we also need a resolution to do this letter. The letter of intent. I would like to have a resolution in place just to be 100% sure that we need a resolution. I don't want anything screwing up this, because we have been 2 months now without a secretary, and we
Motion
can't
for
afford.
a resolution.
Okay, Reverend Spade made a motion for a resolution for the letter of intent for the peer-to-peer program. Calvin seconded. Because it's a resolution, we need a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam President.
President Barbie Trent,
Yes.
Vice President Joe Adam, Calvin Glass,
Yes.
Jack Root, Reverend Gerald Spade,
Yes.
Kevin Swager,
Yes.
Paul Zupich.
Yes.
No, we have a copy somewhere of a resolution that we can print out so we get it signed.
If I can take care of that before I leave for today. Financial assistance. We do have someone who is willing and able to help us through our financial problems. What we were discussing though is payroll. We need to outsource the payroll, and when you're dealing with taxes and payment of Social Security and all these other benefits, I really believe that somebody who is well versed in that and making sure that all of our taxes are paid on our payroll so that this liquid fuel problem does not happen again. I would like to outsource just payroll.
Are you gonna advertise, or do you have somebody in mind?
I do not have anybody in mind.
We have a couple options there. I have some.
Okay,
One of them would be Catherine.
correct. We did discuss, Catherine at one time said that she would be willing to just do payroll, and this would mean that we do not have access to her computer, she does not have access to ours. We send her the hours, she does the payments of the taxes and sends them out, and that's it. She may be willing to do this, so I will contact her and see if she would at least consent to do payroll, if nothing else.
She'll send reports to us though before she sends it in.
We would go over, what would happen is, we would go over payroll such as how many hours, their rate of pay, make sure all of that's on a form that she needs, and then send it out to her. She would be responsible for paying the taxes and whatever else. And yes, I'm pretty sure she would give us a report on that.
She would have to. It'll be public. I mean, it goes to the entities, the 940 and 941.
Right, and she would make sure all of that were taken care of, so that we're not sitting here on pins and needles wondering how much money is in our bank account, because liquid fuels again was held up, and we had the same problem, I think it was last year or the year before, liquid fuels was held up because of a tax problem, and so, you know, we need to get things taken care of.
Just something real small, real quick. I don't care about Catherine or anybody else, cause you're right. But if that new lady that we're coming in, if we get approved for that, if that's part of her training, it would save us.
Well, right now you can't fool around.
No, we
need
I'm gonna have to get a
this
vendor.
be
Catherine wanted
if she'll do it short term.
$250 to $300 for all of the finances. This would not be all of the finances, which means it would not be that
Going
much.
from memory, I think she said 45.
Like 45, yeah.
Now I am
Just
confused
the
whether
payroll.
that was per payroll or per month. But either way,
Either way. Oh, okay, I'm cool.
yeah, and another guy I got was maybe $90 a month.
I'll find out.
Yeah, so
We
we
can
can
always vote on that.
Can she do a proposal? I know she's good at typing out stuff. What she expects or what she sees her job description is.
And I wanna feel her out first and see if she would even consider it, because there's no sense asking her for anything
Oh, I
until
thought this
she
was a
said,
done deal.
no, this is not a done deal. Paul and me and, other people in the office were discussing this, the possibility of maybe reaching out to her one more time and seeing.
But you're going to contact her.
I will contact
Okay,
her.
one more thing, if you do, we were talking about, she did payroll for us for 2018. So
Okay,
we don't want somebody to have to redo everything she's already done.
okay.
So would you inquire about that?
And she'd be the logical choice. They could get her. Talking to Catherine, right?
Yes. And she wants to help. But
She has a good reputation.
Okay. Would,
Make a motion that you pursue that.
okay, here's my next question, Rowan. We really have to get things underway because these two have not had a paycheck.
That's why I'm saying, I'm making a motion that you have the right to,
Make the
hire her.
decision?
Yeah, if she is so agreeable,
Okay,
that we do it post haste.
I'll second that one.
Calvin will second it.
Who wants a paycheck?
I'm sure he does.
Again, this
You
is
do too.
dealing with hiring somebody and financing, so therefore we need a roll call. Noel, you can skip the people that are absent, let's do the roll call of the people that are here, save some time. Are y'all agreeable with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Well, she should,
They-
the roll
you can
call
write 'em
should
down.
show that they're not here.
You write them down.
Which
if
she
they're
will
not here.
show that they're not
Well, it
here, but
shows
for
on
the
top.
sake of roll call vote,
Just
I
vote.
yield.
I'd appreciate it, thank you. Go ahead,
President Barbie Trent,
yes.
Calvin Glass,
Yes.
Reverend Gerald Spade,
Yes.
Kevin Swager,
Yes.
Paul Zupich,
Yes.
Okay, moving right along. We have one resume for the secretary position, which I hold in my hand. Noel has submitted a resume to be considered as the secretary.
Motion to, by resolution 901.
I look at this a little differently. We appointed him as the director, it would be his staff. I'd have to hire my staff. You know, the board hires me, we hire him, I would let him pick his staff.
And I think it was me, Kevin, and Kelvin that were supposed to do interviews and make that decision, correct? Is that what we read in the last minute?
for employee and-
No, I feel I should have a big part in making that decision, but it should still be a vote
should
on
be
there that
council.
we all, the council
Okay.
agreed that.
Yeah,
The
you're
person I hired was
prejudicing
the right-
those that are not.
I cannot vote, I abstain due to the fact that you're it and you're my kid.
I'll make the motion, but I would like to have, in my motion that there's a 90-day trial, on which time, just like any other job, if Noel's not working out or not grasping that, then we give him the opportunity to
And
leave.
personnel policy gives you that.
That thing, so as long as that's in there,
Yes,
I make the motion, then we go ahead and hire so we can start this training and get her on.
I will second.
Roll call vote. And it should be by resolution,
So we have two resolutions we're doing tonight.
901.
901.
The Borough Code,
Yeah,
901.
the one that applies would be 1005, and you could do this by motion, if you would read the powers of council, not the duties, but the power. Just read section 1005, it's very first line. We can do it by motion, we can do it by ordinance, we can
Well,
do
we
it by
just did it by
resolution.
motion.
Yeah, it's in there, all three of them are in there.
But when you appoint somebody, 901 applies.
Go ahead.
Are we appointing or are we hiring?
You're appointing.
No, we're hiring.
So- But it's the same thing, but that's semantics.
Why don't you look at?
It is an appointee, and it talks about secretary and those people. You're appointing, same thing as hiring, but you're appointing them to a task. So
You
it's
can check
a,
on it, we're gonna do the vote, check on it, if it says that you have to do that, then we'll do a resolution and sign it.
Well, it's gonna be done by roll call vote. If we need a resolution, we'll do a resolution. Are y'all okay with that?
Yep.
No, I'm serious. Y'all okay with that?
I'm for a resolution 901. That was my motion.
Alright. Well, you have to do the roll call.
Calvin Glass,
Yes.
Reverend Gerald Spade,
Yes.
Kevin Swager,
Yes.
Paul Zupich,
Yes.
please make sure that you have placed in the minutes that you are on a 90-day probation period. Okay? Just like charting in the medical field, if you don't write it, it didn't happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Secretary is at the pleasure of council anyway, so.
That's not the same as bookkeeper, you know what I mean?
We didn't say anything about booking.
Right to know officer.
According to Office of Vote and George Spice, the president is if there's nobody appointed, or in the alternative, the mayor is.
Well,
But if you wanna appoint somebody else, you have that right.
which I do. I'm sorry, I got a full-time job, I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. No
Is that
way.
it?
Yeah, that's it.
Can we make it?
And then I'm here the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So,
Did you find your paper?
no.
And what will the duties all be of a right to know officer? I mean,
A right to know officer is basically what Reverend Spade has requested. He has requested minutes, resolution
Right.
copies, ordinance copies.
so that person has to get that to him.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, they have to show,
It
unless.
is not to be
Excuse me.
removed from
Would
the
you-
borough.
No, just like half the resolutions and the stuff that we've talked about, even 2019, so you even know where it's at.
You don't know where it is.
We couldn't find it.
There was
That's
supposed to
why
be a
I'm
new
asking you.
book
There was
ready.
supposed to be a new book and there's nothing in it. It's not even been open.
Yeah, how do you know which numbers those are?
That,
And that's
Well,
part,
see, I'm going by the minutes. What I'm doing is I'm going by the minutes for this year.
Mhm.
And I will have them for this year by, how many we did?
because we should have.
I have resolution 1 for the
We
EIP
made that
program.
motion, how many months ago?
Long time
Did
ago.
that,
Right.
did that book.
Right.
Right. And that's what I'm
She
saying,
said
the person that does this is, so you know, just with what I've been trying to put together, you have your work ahead of you for a little bit. I mean, not quite as much as the secretary of the bookkeeper,
Yeah.
but we're gonna have to
It's not in
work
the
together.
safe, all these were supposed to be in the, well, Joe is not here,
He
but
was
he
here this
should
morning.
have some idea because he was working along
I
with,
asked him this
cause
morning.
he told
I
me
called him.
that, he told me that there was a book.
There is a book, they
but it's
never put
empty.
nothing in it, Mr. Spade, that's why I'm trying to tell you, I looked, buddy, so that we would be able to, at least if somebody said, hey, I'll do this, we know where to go, so whoever does it's gonna have to be at least come up here during the open hour so we can go through things and get it put together the way it should be. I think it, you know, whoever takes it, it's got,
There's a retentions law, you have to,
right,
it's the law.
some is 5 and 7 years.
So, anybody in mind? And let me add, whoever you do, this person is to be here if there is a request during office hours. This isn't gonna be a 24/7 deal where you walk in anytime you want and want these things.
Well, that only leaves, a select few that
Well, if they
is
come,
able to do that if we're talking about someone on council.
Well, I'll be honest, in my mind, and I brought it up, and in my mind, that I really think that somebody that knows what they're doing and know what we're looking for would be, the Honorable Reverend Spade. He knows what we're looking for.
You?
He knows what we're looking for, he knows what I have to get gathered up, what he has to get gathered up. I don't mind working with him, we need to get a bookcase that we can actually log so they're up proper. And if he'd be willing to do it and put to where we're just, work on just finding the stuff, I would be more than happy during my daytime hours that I have to be here, to be with Mr. Spade and help him find those things and get it right. If he'd be willing to take, I don't wanna take the job because between working here, that mentor thing, being a director, and I know I'm gonna have to make some trips to Clearfield already and Michigan to find out some things that we've looked in the computer. I don't wanna take on another task. And with, things that are going on at home.
I'd be glad to do
You're
that.
agreeable? Do I have a
They're
second?
historical
I'll second.
documents.
Paul
I thought it
seconds?
would be great.
Again? Roll call vote.
It's in 91 again.
Right, and that's what I said, you know what you're looking for, so at least then I know what I was looking for, we're looking for it, and get them to where they should be.
I think we just set a record for Coalport Borough yet again, the number of resolutions done in one meeting. We
Well,
have topped it.
Really, if you look at title, I think it's 65, everything that we do is to be a roll vote, call vote, which I'm gonna bring up. I have a document that I'm gonna show you what is required. And
I'll
like
look at it.
in minutes, they're to be full, not concise, not short. They are to be full. That's the law. And
You mean full roll call votes?
no, full minutes of a meeting, and
Right.
that's what the statute says. I'll table that because I'm going to bring that.
Please.
I already have it prepared, but I didn't bring it tonight.
Okay.
I thought this was a specific thing.
It is, well, we're covering a lot because we had to hire somebody, we need to get things, our finances straightened out, these guys need to get a paycheck, we have to do stuff. So, roll call vote for the right to know officer,
Larry Trent,
yes.
Calvin Glass,
Yes.
Reverend Gerald Spade.
He can't
He have
because,
conflict of interest.
Abstain.
Kevin Swatter,
Yes.
Paul Zupic.
Yes.
okay,
Thank you for the privilege.
motion carried. So, apparently I screwed up really bad.
Not even.
I was contacted on Sunday about the wrestlers and fireworks and stuff, and I gave my approval.
Only the mayor could do.
Wait a minute. I told this person that I had to contact the rest of the council, that I personally did not have, that's what I meant by approval. I personally did not have a problem with it, but I had to contact the rest of council,
That's
which
right.
you are more than welcome to look at the message that I sent.
Well, I'm not. All I'm saying is the mayor's the only one who can
Yes.
do a proclamation.
Right, but here's the issue, okay? I did not know that I had that message until the following day, and this had already happened, and I don't know who they went through, if they got it approved, but we are also dealing with Route 53 for these parades, and I think these parades are important. And what I would like to encourage our school to do, like our wrestling coaches, football coaches, whoever, that when you are headed for a championship such as this, go ahead of time and say, hey, if this happens, we would like to do this, so that all the paperwork could be in place. And you know what? If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If they go, they put their best foot forward, and they don't make it, they don't make it. You know what? Then it just doesn't happen, but at least the paperwork is in place. As far as I'm concerned, 53 had to be shut off. That's not even our ballpark. That's,
Did the
PennDOT's
state
ballpark.
police come?
No.
What happened was, they just emailed the president, they didn't go through the proper channels, they didn't email her to the individual won the states, then tried to ask permission to do something that was gonna happen within a moment's notice, which we know we can't approve. She called me, Barb called me then, President Trent, called me then afterwards, and that's when I told her that the mayor was the only one who could sign a proclamation for a
Absolutely.
parade,
Right.
and that we have to call the state police if we're gonna shut down 53, unless they plan on doing it in a back street, then the mayor can approve it for a back street, as long as Main Street's not affiliated.
Yeah.
And,
We're
it's
not
too
a
late,
coun-
they already had it.
We're not a council until we're all together. And you have a protection for yourself. I've heard you say it many times, and I love it when you say it, that you're equal with us. We're all equal
Right.
when we're together. We're not council when we're separated.
The only thing that I do is run a meeting and get the agenda
Confirm,
ready,
yeah.
and just basically,
We're all aware of it.
So that's your safeguard. If somebody approaches you like that, you say, I can't do anything without council approval.
which is what I did.
Yeah.
I did do that. What I'm trying to say is that these entities that, these organizations that have something big like that, and they know that they're going to regionals, and they know that they're going to districts, and they know that they're, getting the all-state championship or going for it. When you're going for it, let's do the proper channels and take care of it. And then if you don't need it, you don't need it.
Well,
frankly, I think we ought to use it anyway and just tell them we're really proud for, trying.
If you have emails that you sent to them, you guard those with your life, because if something happened and we were sued, you have that you told them that they had to go through the proper
Yeah, but the
channels.
thing of it is, I got contacted the day after, and the mayor isn't here. I mean, they may have contacted the mayor.
She's with her daughter, yeah.
Yeah, they may have contacted her and got things taken care of. I really don't think anybody considering I mean, they won the state championship for crying out loud. And I really, what's that?
Yeah, the boy won. He's the first one ever to win a state
Yeah,
championship.
so I mean, I really don't think anybody's going to come back on us and say, well, you shouldn't have had it. I mean, anybody with any
No,
moral.
they are liable, not us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying. That was just for like the good of the borough. Moving on, solicitor. I spoke with Shelley Hawk, and we don't technically have to have a solicitor in place. However, your solicitors are who does your ordinances. Like, we as a council cannot do ordinances. We can say this is what we want in our ordinance, but our solicitor puts it all in place. So, I think it would be beneficial for us to have a solicitor on the back burner if we would need them. We can contact several people. One that was brought to my attention was Nelson out of Phillipsburg. He also does municipal law. So I would like to contact him about the possibility of being a solicitor for the borough. If you all have anybody else in mind, let's do that, and we'll contact each of them and see what they can present for us.
I talked to Terry Desboy, but he doesn't wanna come to meetings, and I said, we don't have,
We don't make solicitors come to meetings.
they're mostly questions of council.
Right.
But when we write, I don't know what authority you have to write any kind of document. Like, I'm not allowed as a notary public to do anything writing. I did for myself, but I'm not allowed to create legal documents unless there's some kind of safeguard. Now, I know the secretary did. She has samples, and Shelley Hawk gives out samples
Right.
of resolutions, but
So, we could look into the solicitor aspect of it if you.
that's a question you need to ask a solicitor, because they may say any resolution he has to write, because we're non-lawyers.
Ordinance, he has to write ordinance, so we can't do
Yeah,
that.
that's-
I
That's
spoke
correct.
to Shelley, and Shelley said ordinances.
Right.
So,
There's another way of looking at this. If we were a big community, say like Altoona, we would almost have to have a solicitor. But since we do so little, sometimes there are advantages in hiring an attorney for a particular task. And it'd be nice if we got to know, say, 4 or 5 different attorneys.
correct.
Just hired them as needed. Because
She
different
said we
attorneys-
are within our right to do that. We
Yes.
could do that. But you may wanna keep somebody on the back burner that specializes in municipal law for, ordinance writing or, specific questions that may come up or whatever.
Well, that was my point. You would go to the specialist.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you wanted a criminal lawyer, you would go to a criminal lawyer. If you want one that specializes in municipal law, you would pick those out. I would know a few of them.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying it would depend on the task that you wanted done. If you were buying real estate or something, you might want to go to another guy.
We're right now, as far as ordinance or anything, I think we're in a
We're-
position where we're
we're
not
not
gonna start
doing it.
changing ordinance.
Right, right.
So we could probably table this
We
solicitor
are-
thing
that's-
until we get
Yeah.
Yeah. in-house
Get
mess
some
cleaned up.
more, right,
Yes.
get,
Well, if you
and I
wanna
would
get
just-
proposals from I'm sorry, I
that's
interrupted
alright,
you.
that's alright,
Apologize. If you wanna get proposals from different, like Mr.
I
Nelson,
do.
that would be good.
Okay, I do, I would like to take a few, and, which Shelley was very, helpful in that. She just told me to contact our county bar association, and there's a list of who specializes in what, and we'd be able to maybe send out a letter to a few of them and see if they would be interested in taking us on. We okay with all this?
I second the motion to table.
Walt, you have something on spring cleanup?
Yeah, Cary Township notified us it's tentative for the April 26th.
April 26th, yeah, Earth Day, okay?
And we wanna make sure that gets put out, but we will put, as soon as we get a flyer from them,
That's a
I'll put
Friday.
a flyer on our new borough news board.
I saw that, that's gorgeous.
That's fancy.
You got it?
Did you see it?
Oh, he said he'd do something, he
Yeah,
did.
it looks cool.
Right?
Yeah.
You didn't see it coming in, Mr. Spade?
No, I was.
My feelings are hurt, I'm done.
I-
I'm done, that's it, we're done.
I was so used to everything being like it was.
No,
No,
I
there's-
will look for it when I go out.
You can't miss it, sir, that's
I'll
what hurts
even
my
take a
feelings.
picture of it, put
We
it
painted
on.
it to a point where nobody, but that's not needed.
That's a good idea.
Real quick, since we're talking I'll just go to,
Okay,
I had contacted the water company. We somehow managed to get a $650 credit.
In the water company.
Yes, sir,
Yes.
and I'm not gonna discuss how that happened. I'm just saying, we got a $650 water credit. So I made some phone calls back and forth to BCI, and they were in agreement that they would take that credit because it was on the park, which is like $2 a month. So you figured out at $2 a month, $650, how long it would take us to use up $2 a month. So she agreed that they would take it off of our sewage bill, which is up here, $56, average is about $56 a month. So until that $650 is gone, then there won't be a sewage bill or a water bill for the park. Now, we'll still have the other water bills, which covers the school. We'll still receive a water bill from them, and the water bill that we received from the fire company. And by the way, I did find out we are paying the fire company's water bill. I also called the electric company. I got two things going on with them. One was pertaining to the light that was in question in the last meeting. I think I got that fixed.
They're gonna put it back?
I was instructed they would.
which
It's
was my next order of business.
which was
Where we were at.
heartfelt, because I really want to be honest this, and I had showed Mr. Spade, there was one home down there that was well lit, but the other ones don't even have a porch light, so they've been depending on the borough. But if we ever join boundaries, I really think that there's gonna be some citizens in Coalport with their feelings hurt, because talking to some different entities, they don't pay for lights. They'll send out a letter stating you have until this period of time to tell the Penelec that you'll pay the $20 a month or it's gonna be removed. Let's hope we never have to go to a boundary thing.
Well, we have a 20-year contract, that won't
Once-
be nullified, will it?
Yes, once we go to a boundary or go to one picked up by another, they're not
The
obligated.
contracts
They're
are
not
null and
obligated to pay
void?
our bills.
No, under the contract right now, we're able to remove anything we want. We're just not able to go down to the cheaper
The
ones,
cheaper lights,
the LED lights that are
That's-
25%.
which is unfortunate, and I hope it never comes to that, okay, I'm just, what she told me. I also have worked out with her, as far as the electric bills. We get a total of 7, and me and Walt, in our minds, was able to come up with 6 places. So I did email Ms. Hoover again to see if she was the person involved in that. Told her I'd be willing to give her the account numbers so that she could actually give me the street addresses. On the Penelec bills, except for the bill that comes to this building, has 0 Fawn Street. Well, we checked the maps, there's no such thing as 0 Fawn Street in Coalport. Why they done that, I have no idea. I can't find any contracts, nothing, but all the bills except for the bill for this building comes with an address of 0 Fawn Street. So I did email her, she hasn't got back to me yet about finding out whose electric bills we're paying. So hopefully by next meeting, I'll have an answer for that.
So what they're saying, we're paying somebody else.
Oh, no.
No.
What I'm saying is, we know that we know that there is a meter in the park. We know that there is 3 meters for the street lights. We know there's a meter on Taj Mahal, and we know there's a meter up here.
That's
Okay.
6.
Thank you. I get 7 bills. I can't determine where they're at because it just has account numbers and 0 Fawn Street. There is no Fawn Street in Coalport,
So the address needs to be corrected.
and that's what I'm trying to.
Well, if
work
there's
with
only
this.
6 meters and we're paying for 7,
Yeah.
Now,
then there's more than just the
the
address.
7th
being
one
done.
could be just the streetlights. That could be the 7th one.
Is it the big one? Is it
Um,
like $600,000?
You know,
You mean all the other streetlights that are not on a meter?
Correct. It could be that. So, you know, we could be good as far as that goes. But I told her what I want is I want specific addresses per account number, so that if asked, I can say that.
Well, the meters have a number, so you should be able to go to each one
If,
and
and those.
Yeah.
I just can't for like the street lights. So if she gives me that paper, we'll be good. I think other than that, that's the only thing we messed with, correct?
Yeah, we're too busy to mess with
And
anything.
now that they're all switched over electronically, they should know where each one is GPS wise.
Right, and that's why I just wanna get something for her specifically by account number, so that in the future, when we do our budgets and we say, why is this bill so high? We know specifically what meter and what area we're talking about.
Thank you.
Okay,
Other than that, that's,
What about your water bills? You found some stuff there as well.
well, that was that,
The one,
we had $600 and some dollars, we do pay the fire company's water bill. It's not much, but we do pay the fire company's water bill.
Are they aware of that, or are they?
I don't know. I know in the past when we've asked, we've been told that we didn't, but we do. I have tried to make phone calls and I put in my capacity, you know, what I do,
it's not a lot.
things aren't straightened up yet.
Do they use potable water to fill their trucks?
The
No.
bill is
They
$6.
siphon out of the stream.
They use
either
the stream
siphoned
and
out of
fire.
stream or hydrant.
So the only water that gets used down there, and I'll be honest with you, when I brought it up, when I saw it, it was a $6 bill.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
it.
that much.
Yeah, we're not gonna go bankrupt by paying their bill, but I just think as a council and the borough should know that, you know, other than other things we do pay the water bill,
That's
Also,
only $6.
but it's only $6.
That's frivolous.
the Swift insurance payment is due. It must be paid before the 26th of this month. And it is for $774. Now, this is why we need this check signing taken care of immediately, because this bill needs paid.
Motion to pay that bill.
We already made a motion to pay all of them, but there's something more interesting about this. And if you go maybe back into December or something, remember we talked about paying that bill in full?
Yeah.
And she said,
Do we get a
that's my
discount?
understanding.
Just-
No, we just wanted to get it out of the way.
Is that the one through
Yeah,
Joe?
because this is policy
Yeah,
effective
Steve, the new
date
guy.
is
The new
August
guy.
of 2018, so I thought we did, but
I thought the whole bill was like $2,000 or so. I can't remember exactly. Maybe, I mean, it's more than, maybe it's 12,000.
Is there a number on there to call into contact?
yeah.
Well, you probably can pay that online, and, cause you have a credit card, don't you? We have a credit card, didn't we get that? Oh, you didn't get that yet?
Wait a minute, I've only been in this job for 3 weeks, I didn't even get check
No,
sign privilege
they
yet.
they have an attached letter that's,
Cause you can go on there and see it.
no, it
And then
says,
you can pay it.
provide check as payment, or money order payable to Swift. So I'm not thinking that.
I don't think you can pay that online. I think if you read that somewhere, it says about not being able to pay it online, it has to be check or money order.
So anyway, we have a motion to pay this bill. Do I have a second?
Yeah, but I thought we
We
already made a
already
motion to pay
Pay
all.
all the bills. Yeah.
What, we didn't
The
even
one that
hear the
came, the
bills.
ones that came.
We only, last meeting,
Oh, last meeting.
we just
This
paid,
is-
this
this
is a
wasn't
new
on.
one, isn't it? I don't.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we pay this.
This was here, and I didn't know it. The
No, it
date on it
wasn't.
was March 1st. No, it came after the meeting?
You can second it, Cal.
I'll second it, but just so, I picked that up in the mail this morning.
This morning? It says the 1st.
Listen,
Well, that's when they sent it, I
They-
think.
I picked that up this morning in the mail.
I mean, they're like giving us less than 2 weeks to pay this bill.
So it's only, could only been there, today is Wednesday, so we picked up the mail on,
You'll be able
If
to
they have an
tomorrow.
internet,
Pick
do
it up
they have a
on Monday.
website on there? They don't.
No. There's a phone number on here, but that's it. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Everybody in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carried. Okay.
That one we'd have to pay.
Yes, without a doubt. There's no
Has
no
the fire,
argument there.
that has the firemen and all that, is that correct?
Correct. Sir, do you have something that you
Joe.
can I ask your name?
But you,
Scott Baker.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Barbie.
I do. We should have that here. It's Teeter Group,
It's Teeter.
but it's the same. It's Well, I don't know if he handles the SWIFT or not, I guess it does go through him, we have EMC
It
and
does
SWIFT,
because
yeah.
it says that he got a copy of this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we
So
can
his
call
number,
him
yeah.
first, let's call him first and say, hey, what's going on here and see
Well,
what's
what's
happening.
going on, we're not paying the bill.
Well,
Well,
what
if
that
it
sounds
crossed
like-
or there was something
Well,
else that
like-
happened because of,
What
She was to pay it in full, as I understood.
But this is through Teeter Group, you can pay by credit card.
okay,
You
okay.
can actually pay them.
I wanna get one, buddy, and we're gonna get one, as soon as I can get some other things, after I get my stuff in the bank, that's all.
We just need to get things straightened around first so we know what we're dealing with.
Cause I don't think we should have a double
and I
check.
see what you're saying.
I don't want that, I wanna take the
Right.
card and we're done.
Right.
Even there,
what
it's
you're
to
saying.
minimize, we can use checks for the paper trail.
That's why I think we ought to
Yeah.
contact, the Teeter Group and say, was this or was it not, and see where this went.
Yeah. You're
Um,
gonna give Joe.
But you can pay it to Joe, and they'll take care of it.
We'll take
for
care
you.
of it, okay, alright.
He'd come pick the check up.
Or you can draft it right out, just give them your NICR number.
Well, we can't do anything until,
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
right, you'll get,
You can give them.
she will do the minutes like immediately tonight, like before we leave here, and you will have a copy of those to take to the bank.
Okay.
Okay, final thing, Scott, would you like to say something?
So, my name's Scott Vinglas. I'm the administrator, CEO down at Glendale Medical, and I just want to let you, I've watched 15 months of board meetings here. I have no ties to the community. I live in Loretto. Financial background, about 15 years at probably the largest CPA firm in Altoona at Young Oaks Brown there, and then I did the audit here for 12 years down at Glendale, so I took over the administrator position there. But I have a very large background, very knowledgeable in municipalities. I've done, the city of Altoona, I've done budgets of $20 million plus. So I'm here, like I talked to Calvin, Barbie, or President Trent. I'm gonna volunteer my time to get your finances in order, and then I'm gonna go off into the sunset. But everybody will have
Thanks, Scott.
their knowledge,
Thank you very much.
and it shouldn't take long to get the books in order. We'll get that, and I'll have some suggestions that you guys could probably do to make life a lot easier on financial decision making. So I just introduced myself in here,
Your
to,
QuickBooks then.
yeah, I've vast knowledge. I'm pretty much, I can make it do whatever I need it to do. So DCD report, I know exactly what that, I've filed them myself for different, small municipalities, townships, boroughs, to, the smallest to, like I said, 20 million plus. So
Great.
We'll need a bond.
I'm outside, like I'm not
Outside.
being an employee, I'm just basically a consultant that is volunteering my time. I'm not touching, I don't do
We
any
still
of that.
need a bond for you.
He's not doing
I'm not
anything,
doing,
he's not
I'm
touching
instructing you
anything.
to, and again, I know the book, I know the rules of Borough Code, I know the rules behind all this and that. Like, there's some suggestions here that I'm gonna give, not only like this, but all of this, that you guys can make those sound decisions for the community, because the community is what is hurting.
Yeah.
The community, to make the decisions that you need to do, you need to have a council that is willing to all work together, get the stuff done here, because the community can then uprise.
Yeah.
Like, the streets are gonna need cleaned. Liquid fuels money's not coming in, you can't clean streets. Springtime's right around the corner, the street fair's coming up. I got the letter from, the streetscape project, that does the decorating and stuff, that's all coming up. The community just needs you guys. That's what runs it. Yes, it's a
Yeah.
small community, it's a small borough.
Without all the bickering.
Once we get the finances in order, you guys will be in a better shape to make those decisions. Whether, hey, we need to pay this, we need to pay that, we need to pay that, but you will be on track, and I promise you that. But I have nothing, like, I'm not an employee here, I'm just acting as a consultant. Somebody that walked in the door, giving you the hand.
But you're gonna be using our
No,
equipment?
he's
No,
not.
no.
Oh, you're not?
Listen,
No,
He
I'm not
is
doing,
trained.
I'm not taking anything out of this building, I'm not taking any records.
She's gonna sit behind
show-
the desk and do
Yes.
her job, and he's gonna look over her shoulder and
Oh,
say, no, well,
okay.
Yeah.
he is not to be involved in anything that pertains.
Well, you just said something that wasn't clear either. She's going to take the role of a treasurer too?
Not,
Somebody's gonna have to.
We need, listen,
Put it this way, you guys already have the people appointed that could do it, like, he could run the computer, anybody in this council can touch that computer and do anything they want. Anybody here
I don't think that's true, but
you have the right of the borough. You are the elected officials that the public elected here at the borough. You have rights to this entire building.
Well-
You wanna see something, you go see it. Nobody can tell you no because you are elected by the people to run this council.
the treasurer cannot be a councilman. And so I would not feel safe sitting down at that computer and looking and doing it. We need a bonded person that's gonna do that for our own safety.
and I understand that.
Yeah.
I
I
totally
mean, it's the
do.
law, I'm not,
We're trying to
But
get
what
that,
we're
Peter.
trying
That's
to
what we're
tell
trying to
you
get to.
is he
I
is
appreciate
not
what he,
touching
I'm
finances.
100%, you can
And
help, but we need
it's my
somebody.
time, it's not Glendale's time, it's not the
Yeah.
medical center's time, like, if I leave work there, 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and you guys are here, and you need a hand, I will come up and do it, but like I said, I'm not gonna be around all the time, and
Yeah.
I will spend some time here to get you guys up to speed, up to
Yeah.
where you need to, because you can't go forward without it. All you're gonna do is fall behind, you got people that need paid, you got bills that need paid,
Right,
you got bank recs that need done, like, you cannot move forward until you get that in order.
but we need to elect somebody to be treasurer then, that is going to be bonded, and then we have to have that for our
And I
safety.
do understand that, yes, we do.
So, we
Right
don't have
now-
anybody for treasurer.
Right now, our hands are tied
Yeah.
until,
But I would make a motion that we're paying for the bond. You would be bonded, and you could sit down and do that, whatever you,
But what happens though, I can't, like, not that I don't live in a community to be a treasurer, because you can hire anybody outside wherever to be the
Absolutely.
treasurer, you can
Absolutely.
do that. But again, I'm not gonna be able to attend the meetings and give the financial report, I would
well, you
prepare.
wouldn't have to if you made a report. I mean, you know what QuickBooks, you can just pump one out in seconds.
I can-
And then
yes.
give it to somebody and they can make multiple copies.
That's right.
So, but I would say, if he's willing to help us, we still need the bond, and we can transfer that. We're required to do that.
You are, but I'm not an employee, you're not hiring me as an employee,
But
and
you're
you're not
still,
hiring me as a
you're still
consultant.
working in that capacity. You're still working.
okay,
And
alright.
you're-
If
you're-
you guys feel better and you want to do that, if you want to do the bond,
Hey!
you can bond me.
You gotta go.
No.
But I'm
would-
not, I'm just
that would
volunteering my,
protect-
like,
That
I'm
would
just
protect
volunteering my
us
time.
and that would protect you.
Listen,
We'll vote on it.
okay.
Yeah.
If Scott is willing to be bonded, fine.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna.
It's
argue
gonna be
that
a
point.
safety for him and for us both.
Okay, in the same respect, I see where you're coming from. We still
Thank
need a treasurer. Because this is, monitoring and giving guidance, but when it comes to the actual duty of what's going on and what needs to be paid and the bills and everything,
I don't wanna see him
And
slip
then
out of
we're
here
spending
tonight.
money twice, then we're gonna spending money twice. If the man knows what he's doing and he doesn't need bonded and he can help us out, which apparently he can, let's take what he can give us and.
We're required to bond the treasurer.
we're also required to bond
But
the
he's not the
secretary.
treasurer.
But he's working in the capacity of a treasurer.
But we are also required to bond the secretary.
Yes,
Okay, so,
if you wanna train her to do that, if she's willing to do
She
it.
can be both the secretary and the treasurer, according to our own ordinances.
Correct. And that's what I said, cause Scott's gonna tell us, and he's not leaving, he promised me he wouldn't leave till she either grasps it or knows that she ain't getting it.
So what?
So I would much rather, if we gotta bond the well anyway, you just bond the well, because Scott's not gonna touch, I have to
No.
sign the checks, Joe
Right.
has to sign the
No.
checks, she has to hit the okay.
Motion to make Noel the treasurer.
I mean, that's,
Too,
Are we
and,
keeping Joe?
and to accept Scott's gracious,
Yes.
So these two will have check writing privileges, and she will be the treasurer.
correct, they will
Okay.
go over everything that she does and
No
double check it,
Yes,
and
that's
they
no
will
problem.
sign the
She
checks.
does not have check writing
right,
privileges.
so
No.
she could not
So
do
you two
anything
are
for
gonna
herself without me and Joe signing the check.
Exactly,
Okay.
so she will submit, they can sign to pay the
Makes
bills.
sense to use, I mean, that.
Y'all okay with that?
As
And you
long
know
as
what,
he's
if
not-
she grasps it, maybe next year we can move her up a little, bump her up a little bit.
Yeah.
But for right now, I wanna leave Calvin and Joe check writing privileges, she can submit bills, Scott can aid however, and it's a done deal.
And if
It's
you
not
want,
true.
and if you want to do this, you can document it in minutes and say, okay, she's gonna be now treasurer and secretary. You can document it that I will be a consultant at no rate of pay or whatever.
Well, there's gonna be an honorarium.
That you can just document it that way, that you know, a consultant named by me or whatever is gonna help. And then she's, you know, then you basically hired a consultant, which I'm just gonna donate my time and we're gonna move forward and get it straightened out.
Add that to the
Thanks
motion.
again, Scott. Thank you.
I already have that too.
You
That's
already had it.
That's good.
Right, so,
Do I have a second to the motion? Okay, wait a minute.
read,
Is it
read,
discussion?
read the
No,
motion off
confused.
as you have it, just so everybody knows what we're.
Motion to make Noelle treasurer and to bond her. Scott, what's your last name?
Vinglas, that's V as in Victor, Inglas.
Okay, I just spelled it right. Will be a consultant for finances.
Is there a motion? All right, I'll second.
That is really gracious.
So we got
The vote?
first and
Okay.
second.
Roll call vote. Oh, wait a
President.
minute, I can't vote, correct, yeah.
Well,
Correct.
It's
I
another resolution. We're gonna do our 901.
To play those numbers tomorrow night or 9:01.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I think it's like-
I don't know, Kevin, I think it should have been paid.
Okay, roll call vote, if you're
Okay,
ready,
now.
Calvin Glass.
Joe. Yes.
Reverend Gerald Spade.
Yes.
Kevin Swager.
Yes.
Paul Zupich.
Yes.
She's just trying to get herself a pay raise.
I know,
I
right?
know what she's doing.
Jeez. Kids sucking me dry. Okay, does anybody else have any business to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
I'd just like to make sure it's on tape, cause Scott did call me, well, he actually came up here to the Borough a couple days ago and explained to me what he wanted to do. And I just want everybody to know how much we appreciate the fact that
Most definitely.
for someone with his knowledge and experience to come up here and say, hey, I'll do this for nothing, every moment that I have that I can give to you, I'll give to you for nothing. And clean us up and get us past this financial thing so we can start dealing with the real business that Coalport knows too. I really think that, my hat goes off to it, and I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, and the sad part is that everybody who has volunteered to help this borough out doesn't even live in the borough, and that is sad. And the people who do live in the borough have just been bad-mouthing council and bad-mouthing the town on Facebook, and I'm sorry, I just find that very sad that, you know, you spend your time degrading people who actually stepped forward, such as the people sitting at this table, to run the town and take the responsibility of finances and everything. And yet people from outside the community have come in drones to assist us, and
Right.
I'm sorry, shame on you.
Well,
It is.
You gotta look, I just take it in a grain of salt and look where the bad mouthing's coming from. People who
Consider the
haven't,
source.
yeah, consider the source.
And some of them aren't even, registered to vote, so I don't know why, I mean, they can't even make decisions, cause they can't.
Which I
register to
encourage
vote.
everybody, register to vote.
But it is sad in Coalport, every volunteer thing we've had, including painting the sidewalks, the 2 and
And the
3
park.
volunteers that we got were people that did not live in the borough. Streetscape, there's, out of the whole mess on Streetscape, there's one lady that lives in the borough. And the one that heads it up doesn't. The museum, if you check the people, there's one person in the museum that lives in the Coalport Borough that volunteers.
Yeah, I don't go, I don't know the council.
And as far as the coal museum, Pat is the only girl that I know that's involved in the coal museum, because everybody I've had in contact to ask about the coal museum lives outside the borough. And the only time that we ever see citizens up here is if we have to make a rough decision because we're broke.
And no decision is popular to everybody.
And did you, one of their biggest bitch about, council was like when the streetlights, we're getting rid of streetlights, but they don't realize why we were doing it, just, they try to save money to do other things.
You know,
It's not even worth commenting on.
you start reading the things as far as
I let it go.
what's that called when the boroughs, I don't know that big word,
Distress.
distress, that'll be the first thing that goes. Just read it, talk to Ed. The first thing they'll do is tell us is, why are you paying $9,000 a year for a street light?
And a donation.
And a donation. I mean, they'll be given the opportunity to pay for their own light, but eventually, the way this town's going, it'll be dark.
And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to stop it. So, suck it up, Buttercup. Do I have anything else that needs to be addressed before we adjourn?
I think there's a lot of wonderful people here in town.
I didn't say it wasn't wonderful people.
There is. There definitely
I
is.
just wanted to give a positive.
Here we go there.
And you know what? The people that were here last meeting,
Yeah.
thank God they stepped forward and came up. Instead of posting their gripe on Facebook and gossiping, they came and they showed that this was something that affected them.
Oh, I love
Exactly.
that there are people coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
wonderful people here in Coalport.
But we gotta remember one thing. We're not over the people.
We are the people
We are serving the people.
But we have to make decisions for the
that are not
That's right.
popular to the people.
That's
But
all
we
we
need to make sure that they're done by vote. The one thing that I asked and you said that we had vote, we didn't vote on at all. I went through and watched it again, and I invite you to watch it back. We did not vote on fee structure, which should be by resolution.
I thought we did that at the beginning of the, when we reorganized
structure?
last year.
No.
Fee structure,
I
such as
asked
copies.
about it was in the
Oh.
minutes.
Okay,
It's written down somewhere.
we
We
did it,
never
we
voted
did it
on
in the
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
That's the thing. The only safety net we have is that we vote on stuff together as a quorum.
I make a motion that we adjourn this and then
Second.
somebody wants to
Okay.
or something later on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No, I mean I'm not opposed to it. I'm glad to get out.
Okay, meeting
thank you,
adjourned
Scott.
right now.
I just
Meeting
was trying
adjourned
to
at
protect you.
7:13.
7:13.
You make sure you copy down the hours when you were here for this meeting, and then I wanna see you tomorrow at